Hey, everybody. This is another topic that I think might be easiest to explain by just throwing together some code. And I'll try to make sure the code that I have here as starter code is available somewhere. But for now, just imagine we have some sort of website where we have a title, we have a bunch of text on the page. Doesn't really matter what any of it says. And have you ever encountered a pop-up box, sort of like this dialogue we have here? It doesn't do anything. It's purely cosmetic at the moment. It doesn't have anything important to say, but maybe it could alert us about some new message or some event, or who knows what it wants to alert us about. It doesn't really matter. Currently, in terms of the HTML, it's just being set in directly after this h1 tag. Doesn't really matter where we put it, but it's currently its position is currently determined by just existing in our code after this element. And if I were to say move it around, like what we would expect, it would suddenly be at the top here. Or maybe if I wanted it to be at the bottom of the page, I could move it to the bottom like so. Like, yeah. And now it's going to be at the bottom of our page. It should be at the bottom of our page. Not sure what happened to it. It should be there. So yeah, let's return it to its normal home. Not sure why I didn't update there, but so we have this page. And oftentimes when we're dealing with these sorts of dialogues, maybe we want them to stay fixed at the top of the page. So until you dismiss it and deal with it, you have to continue using the website like normal. Or maybe we want it to constantly be at the bottom. So maybe there's more important information at the top and it's okay to block something at the bottom of the page. Maybe we want it to just move from where it is normally. There's a lot of things we might want to position it with. And this is where the position property comes into play. So right away, the property is called position, and there's a number of different options we can set. So if I tell it I want it to be positioned, how about absolute? So absolute is absolutely one of the options we can go with. By default, it doesn't really change where it's being positioned at the moment because I haven't told it where to go. But if I say I want it to be from the top, 0 pixels. And it helps if you spell pixel right. This is the container that I put this CSS on. I was wondering why it wasn't doing anything. I want to put it on the message. That's what I want to attach this to. So now it's being positioned up here. It's lost its any idea of how big it should be because it no longer exists directly inside of the container. So maybe I should give it something like width inherit. There we go. So whatever the parent's width is, it's going to retain. Or if I happen to know I set it to 800 pixels, I could just put in 800 pixels. That'll be fine. So position absolute top 0 pixels moves it to the top of the page within 0 pixels of the start of the page. If I set it to 20 pixels, well, now it's 20 pixels down. If I set it to 200 pixels, it's 200 pixels down. It is completely blocking stuff on the page. So yeah, there's no way to, we're going to have to deal with this dialogue in order to proceed on. But you get the idea. Like if we tell it to be positioned in a specific spot and it'll do it. So top means from the top move to this position. If instead I wanted it to be positioned at the bottom, I could say bottom from 200 pixels. That's 200 pixels from the bottom. If I want it to be at the very bottom, interesting. I think it's positioned itself at the bottom of the screen initially without having to worry about scrolling. Yeah, that's probably what it did. If I wanted to, but it is something I can scroll past. Also, I can adjust it left and right as well. Let's not forget, we can say left 100 pixels. So that moves it 100 pixels to the left. We can do the same thing to the right. And even negative values are supported. So if we want it to be, we just want it to be completely off the screen, we can say, yeah, just position it off the screen where you can't see it. Maybe that's a useful thing for if you want it to slide in from the side, being able to have it start off the screen. Can we simulate that? Ooh. Just imagine this is smooth. Kind of fun, actually. I don't know what -0 is, but let's go with it. So yeah, we can move it left and right as well. Where was I going with this? So absolute is one of the options for position, and it's absolutely kind of annoying to deal with. So I wouldn't really recommend it unless you really know for sure the person viewing the page is viewing it on a very specific screen size in a very specific way, and they have their screen, the window that they're viewing it in is exactly sized a certain way. It's not a good experience usually, but sometimes it's handy. There's also the option to do fixed, which usually it's better if you spell fixed correctly. And position fixed, top 0, bottom 0. Okay, so that's off the bottom by 0 pixels. Let's make it 100 pixels so that it's more. I don't understand how exactly JSBin is determining these sizes. I think this website isn't quite giving me the accurate size here, but you get the idea. We can play around with this value, and now it's constantly down here at the bottom of the screen. Or if it were to the top that I wanted it to be, it's going to constantly be layered on at the top until I deal with it, which is really annoying, but the content beneath it can still move. So position fixed is kind of useful for these sorts of dialogues that will float over things. Not necessarily just a dialogue, but just any sort of element you want to float like that. But there's other positions as well that we can assume. Let's try relative. So position relative is an interesting one. And what it says is, well, relative to where you are currently, how do we want to move? Maybe top, move down from the top 100 pixels. So in some like rare cases, you can't get your element to be exactly where you want it to be. This is always a stopgap. There's usually a better way to get something positioned exactly how you want it. But if you really want to just go in there and grab it and tell it how you want it to go, relative is an option, but be careful with it. Yeah, be very careful with position relative. So I'm going to maybe recommend you save it for extreme cases or limited cases. But don't make your entire website work by using position relative. You're going to drive yourself insane. I should know. I'm very, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's the rough idea about position. I was hoping I could put together a bit more curriculum before this, but a video might have to suffice for now. We will be going over it today in class, so hang tight for that. I'll include some useful links as well. There's, frankly, the internet is awash with useful resources when it comes to CSS. So we're spoiled for choice, really. But I wanted to maybe put my take on it. And yeah, trust me, this isn't that much CSS to end up with a reasonable looking website. It looks reasonably like things I've seen before on the internet. Anyway, yeah, so have fun today. Position is pretty cool, but there's more topics that maybe we want to talk about as well. So stay tuned for that.